Hello children. We are discussing your chapter 7 of your NCERT book and second chapter of your biology, that is control and coordination. In our previous video, we had discussed certain terms. What is control? That is the power to restrain or regulate certain processes to start, to stop, or to increase or decrease their rate. What is coordination? The harmonious or orderly arrangement of working together of various organs to give a particular function is known as coordination. Then we have discussed the stimuli and response. What are stimuli or stimulus? The environmental change which brings about a movement in a living organism, which brings about a movement of a part in a living organism, that is known as stimuli. In the response of stimuli, certain changes occur in the living organism and those changes are known as responses. So these are the general terms which we had discussed in our previous video. After that, we had discussed the control and coordinating activities in the plants and animals on a sort of brief manner. And then we were discussing the coordination in plants. As we discussed in our previous video, that plants do not possess any nervous system. They only coordinate their activities, their metabolic activities, by the help of chemicals, and those chemicals are known as phytohormones or plant hormones. Plant hormones are the chemicals that these are produced other than the nutrients, other than the diffusible nutrients in the plant parts, which control the various metabolic activities, which control and coordinate the various movements of plants, are known as phytohormones or plant hormones. There are in total 5 major plant hormones which we are going to study: auxin, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid ABA, and ethylene. The first plant hormone which we are going to study in detail is auxin. Auxin is not a single hormone, it is a group of hormones. In today's day, we know more than 100 of auxins. Auxins are synthesized naturally, as well as synthetic auxins are also found. The example of natural auxin is IAA, that is indole acetic acid, and the synthetic are 2,4-D, that is 2,4-dichlorophenoliacetic acid. These are natural and synthetic auxins. The nature of auxin hormone is slightly acidic, so it is an acidic hormone. The important thing for your 10th class is the functions of the hormones. These examples are not in your syllabus, you can leave them for 10th class, but if you know 1 or 2 examples, it will be very useful for you. Out of the functions of the auxin, the first function is auxins promote cell elongation and cell differentiation. So these are growth promoting functions of auxins. Next, auxin also promotes fruit growth. It helps in increase the size of the fruit. Next, it also helps in the root formation. In the absence of auxin in stem, the root formation is promoted. If we cut the stems up apart, then the auxin concentration is reduced, and that will increase the root formation. Next, movements. Auxin helps the movement of plant part in response to gravity and light. It helps the plant part to move towards light, and it helps the plant part to move away from the gravity. So these are the two movements which are also known as geotropic movements and phototropic movements, which we are going to discuss in later on in this chapter. And these are the functions of auxins. The second hormone, the plant hormone, which we have to discuss is gibberellins. Gibberellins is also a group of hormones which are produced in plants. Gibberellins are mainly produced in the growing parts, like the buds, like the leaves, whereas auxin is produced in the tip of shoot and tip of the roots. Auxin are produced in the tip of shoots and tip of the roots, and the gibberellins are produced generally in the growing parts, like the bud, the developing embryo, or in the growing seeds. These are also weakly acidic hormones. They are named on the basis of the name of a fungus, that is Gibberellia fugicula. On the basis name of this fungus, those hormones are named as gibberellins. More than 136 gibberellins are known till date. The most common gibberellin is GA3, that is the gibberellic acid. That is the most common gibberellin known till date. Likewise, auxins, gibberellins are also natural as well as synthetic. Then the functions of gibberellin. These are not included in your 10th class syllabus, but the functions are very important for your 10th class board exam. The first function of gibberellin is it promotes cell elongation and differentiation. It promotes the cell elongation and cell differentiation, especially in leaves and buds. This function is same for the auxin as well as for the gibberellin. Second, it promotes fruit yield. Auxin promotes fruit growth. Auxin helps in the increase in the size of the fruit, but it helps in the increase in the number of fruits per plant. Next, gibberellin helps in breaking off seed and bud dormancy. That means if the seeds and buds are not properly growing, then we give synthetic gibberellins, as gibberellins helps in the breaking of seed and bud dormancy. It allows the seeds and buds to grow into the further parts very easily, very quickly. Next, it promotes shoot extensions. That is, it helps in the growth of the shoots, growth of the green shoots, green stem. Gibberellins are also used extensively in the horticulture, like in the growth of vegetables and the ornamental flowers. So these are the functions of gibberellins. Third plant hormone to discuss is cytokinin. As its name indicates, cyto means cell and kinin word taken from kinesis, that means division. It is the plant hormone that promotes cell division. It is mildly, that is weakly, alkaline or basic hormone, whereas auxin and gibberellin was acidic hormones. The first natural cytokinin was zeotin. They are produced in the roots and then later on transferred to shoots. So cytokinins are basically produced in the roots and then later on these are transferred to the shoots. Functions. It promotes cell division, a very important point for your board exam. Which plant hormone promotes cell division? The answer would be cytokinin. Next. Likewise, that of gibberellin, it also promotes the breaking of seed and bud dormancy. It helps the seeds and buds to get converted into a new plant or a flower very easily. So it promotes in the breaking of seed and bud dormancy. This function is same for the gibberellin as well as for the cytokinin. Next, cytokinin helps in the phloem transport. And in our previous chapter we discussed what is the material transported by the phloem. Phloem helps in the transportation of food synthesized in leaves to each and every part. And in the phloem transport, cytokinin plays a very important role, plays a very key role. Next, it prevents senescence. What is senescence? Aging of leaves. It does not allow the leaves to wilt, to shred off easily. ये leaves को जल्दी से wilt सूखने नहीं देता और इसकी वजह से leaves जल्दी से गिरते नहीं. The next function of cytokinin is cytokinin helps in the providing resistance. It helps in providing the resistance to a plant. What is resistance? The capacity to stop something. Due to presence of cytokinin, the plants have a resistance against the diseases and microorganisms. Plants can resist, plants can stop the effect of microorganisms and various disease-causing microorganisms on them. And the sixth function of cytokinin is opening of stomata. Cytokinin helps in the opening of stomata. Out of these six functions, the first, second, fourth, and sixth are very important. These are included in your NCERT syllabus. The rest are extra, you may leave them, but these are very important, so you have to do it very carefully. The next plant hormone to be discussed is abscisic acid, and it is abbreviated as ABA. Abscisic acid, as its name indicates, it is mildly acidic hormone. It is also referred as stress hormone or DOM. This hormone is a growth inhibitor. It does not promote the growth. It checks the growth of the plant. It checks the growth of the plant due to various other plant growth promoters or plant growth hormones. It does not allow those hormones to release in excess. So the first function is it checks the growth. How it checks the growth? By inhibition, by stopping of various other growth promoting hormones. Next, it promotes dormancy of buds and seeds. Abscisic acid does not allow the seeds and the buds to grow into the plant and flowers respectively very easily. It promotes their dormancy. It allows the buds and seeds to remain in that intact form for a long period of time. So it works exact opposite to the cytokinin as well as to the gibberellins. Gibberellins promotes the breaking of the dormancy, whereas the abscisic acid promotes the dormancy. It keeps the seed and bud in the dormant state, in the inactive state for a longer period of time. Next, it promotes senescence. Senescence means budhapa. It promotes the senescence, that means the wilting and shredding of leaves. The leaves will dry and then ultimately shred off. It's a very important function for your board exam. So these are the basic functions which are performed by abscisic acid. Along with that, it also checks the transpiration by closing the stomata. So it's also a very important question for your board exam. Which hormone promotes the opening of stomata? Cytokinin. Which plant hormone promotes the closing of stomata? Abscisic acid. Which plant hormone is referred as a growth inhibitor? Abscisic acid. Which hormone will put a stress on plant's growth? Abscisic acid. So these are certain very small question, 1 marker question or MCQ question which may include in your board exam. Next plant hormone to be studied is ethylene. Ethylene is the only gaseous hormone produced in plants. It helps in the ripening of fruits. There's also a very important function to remember. Which hormone is used to ripen the fruits? किस ऐसे हार्मोन की वजह से फ्रूट्स जल्दी से पक जाते हैं? The answer would be ethylene. It is the only gaseous hormone produced in the plants. Ethylene is also provided in the form of ethaphon, a gel-like material, a powder-like material also, to ripen the fruits very easily. You must have seen certain carrots of mango. They contain certain gel-like material or a powdered form material. That powder is ethaphon. Ethaphon basically converts into ethylene, and then that ethylene will ripen those unripe mangoes or bananas very easily. Ethylene is a growth promoter as well as growth inhibitor. ये growth promoter भी है और growth inhibitor भी है. Now we will discuss the plant movements. The plant movements due to growth are of two types. One is autonomic and other one is paratonic. Both these movements are not included in your syllabus, but the general introduction must have been taught to you. The first is autonomic movements. The movements of the plant parts due to the internal factors is known as autonomic movements. These kind of growth movements occur in the apical regions, like in the tip of roots, tip of shoots, and the lateral meristem, the meristematic tissue of leaves, which is present in the boundary. Paratonic movements are the movements which are shown by the plants due to certain external stimuli, due to certain environmental change, and those paratonic movements are we are going to study in detail in this chapter. Rather than these, the plant movements are of two types. First, tropisms, and second, nestic movements. The first movements which we'll discuss are the tropisms. Tropisms are the directional growth movements. Why are we using the directional word? Because in these movements, the direction of response is depicted by the direction of stimulus. Either the direction of response of the plant part is towards the stimulus or against it. इन movements में क्या होगा? जो plant part grow होगा, या तो वो stimulus की direction की तरफ होगा, that is known as positive tropism, या फिर वो direction of stimuli के opposite होगा. स्टिमुला इधर से आ रहा है तो डायरेक्शन ऑफ ग्रोथ दूसरी तरफ होगी, या स्टिमुला इधर से आ रहा है तो डायरेक्शन ऑफ ग्रोथ उसी की तरफ होगी. So these are the two tropism movements in which the direction of stimuli will depict the direction of response, whereas the nestic movements are non-directional movement. These movements does not depend on the direction of stimulus. These are only growth movements, whereas nestic movements are growth as well as non-growth movements.